What's up, Homo sapiens? I'm Skeptic Dank, and this video is going to be kind of spur of the moment because I found something cool that I want to talk about. So I went hiking with my wife and the dogs the other day, and I found in a riverbank what looks to be a piece of bone. So my first thought was like, oh dude, this is like the perfect size and shape to make a badass sword hilt. Like, it's even got a hollow part and just jam a blade down in there with some JB Weld and metal as fuck. I mean, it would go fucking amazing with this wizard staff, just saying. Now here's where it starts getting a little bit more interesting, because when I tried to bleach it, it still came out a little bit more brown than you normally would expect a bone left in bleach overnight to look. I had already suspected there may have been some permineralization, but it turns out there's a way to test if you have a bone that's been permineralized. So this is a regular piece of bone here. I think it's a cow rib. My dog's been chewing on it. But you can do a flame test with it. Now, if you hold a flame to it, it might take several seconds. Yeah, see how it smokes like that? And it kind of has almost like a burnt hair type smell. So now we're going to do the same thing with this piece of bone. And see, it's not smoking at all. Doesn't really have a smell to it. I mean, if anything, it just still smells like bleach. So if you ever have a piece that you're not sure if it's bone or just a regular rock, you can test that by making sure it's really dry, and then wet your hands a little bit, and if you touch it and it sticks, then it's bone. Or if you're not a coward, you can just lick it and see if your tongue sticks to it. Now this is because bone has a very porous surface, which it still maintains after permineralization. Yeah, that feels weird. It's really weird. Like, when you pull away from it, you can like feel your tongue peeling off of it, and it's a very odd sensation. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it again. Now, this thing was soaked in bleach overnight, and then washed out again, and then dried. Maybe don't go licking things that you suspect to be animal remains that you just found laying on the ground. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that. So of course now I have to ask though, what was it? Now I'm by no means an expert, but this appears to be a tibia or shin bone, which would make this would be like the ankle right here. And given the size, I would say it has to be something in the realm of horse or cow. But here's the thing. Permineralization generally takes a really long time. That can depend on the size of the specimen and the conditions it was in. But something like this very well could take hundreds, maybe over 1,000 years to permineralize. Which means that unless this thing was in some sort of optimal conditions with tons of minerals and catalysts available, then it very well could predate European settlers in the Americas, which kind of rules out cows and horses, which leaves bison. So of course I looked up fossilized bison tibia on Google, and holy hell, it's like spot on. Now I'm by no means an expert, and I could still totally be wrong about this, but turns out there is a way to ask the experts. If you go to the Paleontological Society's website, which I will link in the description, you can send them pictures of any fossil that you found and where you found it, and they will try to identify it for you. For free. So of course I did just that, and I don't know how well they can identify something with just like 3/4 of a tibia, but I don't know. We'll see, and I will let you know. So what do you think this bone is from? Should I turn it into a sword hilt or leave it as is? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See ya, Homo sapiens. Good news! Mike from the Paleontological Society got back to me while I was still editing the video, and he says it is a tibia, and probably either a cow or bison. But he would be able to tell more if the other end would have still been there. Now he says if it's not modern bone, it's probably bison, which the amount of permineralization in this, again, like I said, barring some sort of freak circumstance where there was tons of minerals and catalysts to rapidly permineralize it, it's probably bison. Which is pretty cool. It really comes down to how old it is, but unfortunately, I do not have the resources to accurately lab test that myself. What I do know is there weren't really a lot of cows here in Ohio until about 230, 240 years ago, but there were bison as recently as about 220 years ago, and as far back as the Pleistocene era. Huh. Weird how closely the end of bison and the beginning of cows line up. It's almost like the cows came in and committed an atrocious genocide against the indigenous bison. So is it worth anything? Not really. I mean, I can find fossilized bison tibia whole and unbroken on eBay for like 20 bucks. So you can maybe get like $5 out of this, but I'd probably rather just keep it and maybe make something out of it. So, sword hilt, leave it as is, or something else. Let me know in the comments.